What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for week 6 of the Champions League. Here are the winning accumulators we've had on the channel since the last video. This is, of course, on the exclusive members-only Patreon and the YouTube Members Club. If you want to pause the video, you can take a look here. Flashing up on the screen are all of the people that have joined and are supporting the Patreon so far. I really do appreciate it, and I wouldn't be able to make all of these videos without your support. Of course, if we reach 30,000 subscribers by the 1st of January 2025, not only will I continue doing the Premier League and Champions League videos, I will also add in La Liga, Serie A, and Bundesliga to the mix. And as you can see by every time when I flash up the winning accumulators each video, we have picks from all of those leagues and more. So if you want to get a shout out in every single video and support the channel and get exclusive access to those accumulators and group chats, then you can click the join link using the description below. Or if you want to, I guess you can click the join button here on YouTube. Speaking of which, here are the people that have done that since the last episode. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, they don't have access to the Patreon group chat because it's not Patreon, but still, I appreciate it nonetheless. But nevertheless, let's get started with our first prediction. Remember, this is Champions League, so there's 18 matches, so we're going to blast right through them. I'm not going to spend too much time on them, but there's some great value to be had here. Kicking it off with Dynamo Zagreb up against Celtic. Now, Dynamo Zagreb and Celtic, they've both had an okay-ish start. I believe they both won 2 of their opening 5 games. Obviously, Zagreb had to bounce back from that massive 9-2 loss against Bayern Munich. And Celtic, they've been doing pretty well. I think I'm actually going to shade it to Celtic here. I think this could go either way, but one thing I am sure of is my tip, and that is both teams to score at 1.61. So I'm going to shade it to Celtic 2-1 away from home, but I know that they don't particularly travel well in Europe, and Dynamo Zagreb, if they're going to get points, it's going to be at home. So I would stay away from the result market here. I think both teams to score. I think over 2.5 goals. It all looks good, but you know what? I've been a bit harsh on Celtic in previous seasons regarding the Champions League. I think rightfully so. So I'm just going to stick my neck out a bit here and back them to win this one. After this, it's Girona up against Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool, the only team that are currently mathematically guaranteed to qualify to at least the knockout stage. But we all know that's just because they've only played 5 games. They're going to be in the top 8. Are they going to win all 8? Who knows? Obviously, they didn't play at the weekend in the Merseyside derby as the Sturm postponed that game, and a lot of other fixtures over the country. You would have seen at the beginning my League One high odds winners treble. Only 2 of them actually played. Blackpool's game was postponed. My own garden fence is kind of broken now. It was pretty damn windy, it does have to be said. But that does mean that Liverpool are rested compared to a lot of other teams in this competition. Will they go slightly weaker because they've already guaranteed qualification? Honestly, I don't think so. I think had they had a really tough Merseyside derby, they got like a gritty 1-2-0 away win, they might have rotated a little bit more. But to be honest, all the players are fresh. All the players will want to play. That's one thing you need to know. Psychologically, as a player, unless you are actually already injured, you want to play every game. You know, they don't care too much about overplaying. Like I said, if there's no injury involved, they feel fit enough, I would say, to play every other day if they want. Like, they want to play the game, and I think Liverpool are going to go quite strong here and just make sure they get this win, and I'm going to go for it. Liverpool to win 3-0. The tip is going to be Liverpool to win at 1.42. You could go Liverpool -1 handicap at probably around evens. I like that a lot. You could also go Liverpool win to 0. After this, it's one of the games of the week. It's Atalanta up against Real Madrid, and Atalanta are they're an absolute unit. Again, you would have seen in the winning accumulators, we had Atalanta to beat AC Milan at odds of 2.1. They won 2-1. They are just looking unbelievable. Real Madrid, however, they did get a very, very good result at the weekend against Girona, I believe it was. I think they won 3-0. But I'm actually going to go for, I think this is an upset. I think Atalanta are the underdogs, statistically speaking, as far as the odds are concerned. I'm going to back Atalanta to win 2-1. My tip is Atalanta double chance and both teams to score at 2.15. I think both teams will score. I don't see how Real Madrid don't, even though Atalanta have only conceded 1 goal all Champions League. They just look like the business. They look so good. And I'm going to, again, not sit on the fence and go for a winner in Atalanta. But for this next one, I am going to do that. Bayer Leverkusen up against Inter Milan. Bayer Leverkusen, God, in the end, it wasn't a massive victory at the weekend. It ended 2-1. They were 2-0 up at halftime. There was never any danger of them losing that game. Inter Milan, I mean, this is a difficult one to predict. It really is. So I'm just going to go for a 1-1 draw, but I really do like Inter. So my tip is going to be Inter Milan double chance at 1.61. I don't see Bayer Leverkusen beating Inter Milan. So, and I think the fact that Inter Milan are also the underdogs, I feel like maybe the Italian teams have been somewhat undervalued, particularly in this week. But we move on to Brest up against PSV. PSV absolutely smashing it domestically. They won again. I think it was 6-1 at the weekend, which was just outrageous. And Brest, I mean, they're doing really well this Champions League, aren't they? But I do think PSV is a step too far. Let's not forget PSV securing I think the latest win from 2-0 down in, I want to say, Champions League history. They were 2-0 down with like a couple minutes to go, and they won 3-2. It was phenomenal scenes. I think PSV are going to win again. PSV to win 3-1, and the odds are just good enough for an outright win. PSV to win at 2. I thought about PSV and both teams to score, PSV and over, PSV -1. You don't need to complicate it when you've got odds of 2 for PSV to win. After this, it is Club Brugge up against Sporting. Sporting, a little bit of a, blip in form since Amorim left. And Club Brugge, I like Club Brugge. They're very good domestically, obviously, but I just think this might be a step too far. I think it's going to be very low scoring. I could see this being a 1-1 draw. I could see this being a 1-0 Club Brugge win. I'm just going to shade it 1-0 to Sporting, but my tip is going to be under 3.5 goals at 1.53. I initially thought under 2.5 goals, but the odds were like 2.1. I thought there's no need to go that high when under 3.5 goals gets you 1.53. And I don't think this is going to be high scoring. Again, I could be wrong, but I just don't. After this, we have FC Salzburg up against PSG. Now, you look at this fixture, right, on paper, and, maybe the casual viewer looks at this and thinks, oh, this is going to end about 4-3 or something crazy. This is going to be high scoring. I'm going opposite. It's a gut feeling, much like when I said there'd be 1 goal in the Bournemouth-Tottenham game and tipped under 3.5 goals. I had people in the comments tell me I was crazy. They said, how can you bet that? Both teams to score is a banker. I said under 3.5 goals, it was a bit of a gut feeling, and I've got a similar gut feeling here. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to PSG, and the tip is going to be PSG and under 3.5 goals at 1.9. PSG to win outright is 1.36. You add less than 4 goals, and you get nearly evens. I think that's pretty good. Salzburg just haven't quite been their high-scoring selves. After this, it is RB Leipzig up against Aston Villa. RB Leipzig getting a much-needed 2-0 win at the weekend. Aston Villa getting a much-needed 1-0 win at the weekend. Leipzig, however, absolutely awful in this Champions League. They can't get a win. And I do think they have a chance to win here, but I'm just going to go with a draw. I'm going to say RB Leipzig and Villa to draw 1-1, and the tip is going to be both teams score at 1.53, but honestly, I'd stay away from this one. I could see this being 0-0. I could see it being 1-0 either way, but I just think that where both teams think they're capable of winning this, and they do, the odds are identical. I think it's 2.6 for a winner either way. I think because both teams will think, yeah, we can win this. Leipzig are the home team. They're a good team. But Villa, they're a decent team, and they know Leipzig haven't been winning any games in the Champions League. So both teams will want to win, and I think that means they'll both get a goal and cancel each other out. After this, it's Shakhtar Donetsk up against Bayern Munich. Do I need to stay on this for too long? No, I don't. Bayern Munich, I think at the weekend I tipped Bayern Munich and over 3.5 goals in the Bundesliga, and they won, I think, 5-2 maybe against Heidenheim. But Bayern Munich are going to win this one. It's going to be fairly straightforward. 3-0. The tip is Bayern Munich -1, handicap at 1.44, because I just don't know. When games are so one-sided, it can be difficult to know where to go. After this, speaking of one-sided, we have Atletico Madrid up against Slovan Bratislava, and another one for Atletico Madrid. Tipped at the weekend, Atletico Madrid to win and both teams to score against Sevilla. They were 3-2 down, Madrid, and then they won 4-3. It was an insane game. Obviously, we tipped Slovan Bratislava to finish bottom of the league stage in the Champions League. They still have this game against Madrid. They still play Bayern Munich later on, because at the moment, it's looking like it might be settled on goal difference, because the teams at the very bottom aren't getting any points. And I think Atletico Madrid are going to absolutely batter Bratislava here. I'm going to go for Atletico Madrid 5, Slovan Bratislava 1. The tip is going to be over 3.5 goals at 1.8. You could go Atletico Madrid and over 3.5 goals, but that makes it 1.83. It's literally not worth it, especially because the freak 2-2 draw is still on your side and you don't lose any value. So over 3.5 goals there. After this, it's Lille up against Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz, good win at the weekend, but Lille, they also got a good win at the weekend. And I did say on the Patreon, Lille and both teams to score at odds of 4. And it came in. I like Lille. I like Lille at home. And I've been liking Lille in the Champions League. I think they'll get the win 1-0. The tip is Lille to win at 1.53. After this, it's AC Milan up against Red Star Belgrade. As I said, AC Milan losing out to Atalanta. But I think they're going to bounce back here at home. I think they're going to score. I think they're going to concede. I'm going to say AC Milan to win 3-1. And the tip is AC Milan and both teams to score at 2.75. Now, after this, we travel to the Emirates for Arsenal up against Monaco. Arsenal, disappointing 1-1 draw with Fulham. I had the alert. I was actually live on a stream when the goal went in for Arsenal. The second one, I celebrated on stream, and then it got disallowed, which is very frustrating. But I think Arsenal are going to be able to bounce back here against Monaco. They've been looking really good in the Champions League. I'm going to say Arsenal to win 2-1, but I thought the odds of both teams to score at 2.05 were pretty good. I think Monaco can trouble this Arsenal defence, and there's a couple of question marks as to whether or not Arsenal can keep this clean sheet. So I think Arsenal win, but both teams score at 2.05. Looks pretty good. Now after this, it is Benfica up against Bologna. Bologna games, always low scoring. Benfica, a cut above Bologna. I don't need to waste your time with this one. 2-0 to Benfica. The tip is Benfica to win at 1.57. But moving on, we have Borussia Dortmund up against Barcelona. I think both teams will score in this game. I am going to shade it to Barcelona, despite their little drop in form. They've had some weird results. I mean, most of all, the 2-1 away loss to Las Palmas. Oh no, I think they were at home actually. Las Palmas were away, and they lost 2-1. Crazy, crazy stuff. I'm going to shade it to Barcelona here, 2-1. I thought about Barcelona and both teams to score at 3.2. I thought about Barcelona to win at 2.1, but I thought, you know what? For the storyline against his old club, I'm going to go with Lewandowski to score any time at 2.05. I think if Barcelona do score twice, Lewandowski's probably going to get one of them. So we'll go with that for the culture. Now after this, it's Feyenoord up against Sparta Prague. Feyenoord, they did win at the weekend with both teams scoring. Sparta Prague also won at the weekend. I think this is going to be quite a close game, but Feyenoord are heavy, heavy favourites on paper. And to be fair, I can see why. I'm going to go Feyenoord to win this one, but I'm going to say it's close, 3-2. But my tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 2.1, because I think this could end either way, really. I think if Sparta Prague show up, they could get a result here, a score draw, or 2-2, something like that. But I think the likely result is Feyenoord and both teams to score, which means both teams to score and over 2.5 goals comes in as well. Now moving on, we have Juventus up against Manchester City. Man City drawing against Crystal Palace. Juventus, are they going to beat City at home? I think they could, but I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say City drop points again. It's been a really weird season, and it's really weird that this winless streak, other than the Forest game, is carrying on. Like, obviously it's not a streak because they beat Forest, but the amount of winless games they've had is wild, and I'm going to say it happens again. Man City are the firm favourites on paper, odds of 1.9 to win, but I'm going to predict a draw. I'm going to say 1-1, and I'm going to tip both teams to score at 1.8 because City aren't keeping clean sheets, and I don't think they're going to win to 0. So there we go. After this, the final game, it is Stuttgart up against Young Boys. Stuttgart, another result of the weekend we predicted with both teams scoring. I think they're going to replicate it again. They're looking good. Stuttgart to win this one 3-1 against Young Boys. I've tipped over 2.5 goals at 1.36. You could go Stuttgart and both teams to score, Stuttgart and over. Whatever you like, I think it's going to be a high-scoring Stuttgart win. But that is going to do it for the Champions League Week 6 predictions. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like, subscribe down below. As I said, remember, if we reach 30,000 subscribers, we will be massively upping the output on the channel in 2025. I can't wait for that if we get there, of course, and it shows that you do want that. But nevertheless, that is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.